You know, guys, the more I think about it, the more and more worried I am for the future of DC Comics. Hi y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. Not a week goes by that I don't talk about how absolutely hopeless I am when it comes to DC, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about that, but really talk about what these recent developments when it comes to DC Studios and Warner Brothers Pictures means for the future of DC as a whole. We all know that DC has tried and failed continuously in order to achieve what Marvel has. And this isn't talking about Marvel being better than DC, it's just about the fact that Marvel took the time to really build out a cinematic universe that, despite its current poor performance, really raked in a lot of money and did a great job of not only building a cinematic universe, but also really getting you invested in an overarching story arc and also in the characters that were involved in the story. Think about it, before the Avengers came out, we already knew all about Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and that made it so much easier for us to get fully involved when the Avengers came out as a team-up movie. DC has been woefully behind in this regard. When you consider that Man of Steel happened and then we got Batman vs. Superman, before we'd even really gotten a chance to see what kind of Superman Henry Cavill was going to be and what kind of Batman Ben Affleck was going to be, because newsflash, he still didn't get his own solo movie. He is the only live-action Batman to not have gotten his own solo movie. Does that not sound like a up cinematic universe to you, or is it just me? Am I going crazy? Don't answer that. I probably am, but it has nothing to do with this. You know, with the huge shakeup in leadership that we've been talking about for a little over 6 months now, I think, it seemed like we were finally getting somewhere when it comes to DC. However, it's really not a secret that I'm not a big fan of James Gunn, especially when he's the guy behind that Superman poop fetish joke in Peacekeeper and The Suicide Squad, which was really not all that great a movie. I think James Gunn has his little niche things that he really cares about, but I don't think he cares about what these characters mean in regards to their legacy. Starting a new Batman story with Damian as the main Robin makes zero sense, because you've already skipped over Dick, Jason, and Tim, all of whom are integral to Bruce Wayne's character development, and James Gunn has chosen to go in a direction that basically makes all of those Robins irrelevant. Furthermore, again, we're really gonna give Superman legacy. We're gonna give our new Superman to the guy that said he had a poop fetish.
Superman's an alien. He's got a poop fetish.
What? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh yeah. He uberly bays the old shiz, as I understand it.
And I mean, look at all of DC's recent box office failures. We don't even have to talk about how awful Justice League was.
Kal-El, no!
How terrible Wonder Woman 1984 was.
We won't be doing that today.
How absolutely criminal Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. We really don't even have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about the Martha scene in Batman vs. Superman.
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name!
And what an absolutely stupid resolution to a huge fight that turned out to be. We don't even have to talk about that. Just look at how little money Shazam 2, The Flash, Black Adam, and Blue Beetle have made. Sure, we can chalk this all up to superhero fatigue, but at the end of the day, I think what audiences are saying is that we don't give a shit about DC Comics anymore. And that's tragic. I'm the kind of person that genuinely prefers DC to Marvel. Sure, Marvel has had more success in the box office. There is nothing that Marvel has ever written that I think has ever had the impact or the intelligence of something in DC Comics. I genuinely think that DC Comics is the superior brand. I will die on that hill. But what we're getting at the movie theaters, which is what mainstream audiences see, is garbage. Every time the Warner Brother picture and DC logos flash up on screen, audiences are literally being fed garbage, which means we have reached a point where mainstream audiences are just associating DC with bad movies. And me, I could go watch a bad movie right now, but come home and look at my DC Infinite app and read a bunch of comics that remind me what I loved about DC in the first place. Mainstream audiences don't do that. They go pay their $14 movie ticket, they watch the movie, and if it sucks, they go, hey, I hate this character and I hate DC Comics. People are losing respect for the brand, and it's only gonna get worse with this new confusing DCEU situation. Zack Snyder's so-called DCEU DCU died, right? We don't have Henry Cavill or Ben Affleck as Superman and Batman anymore, but we're also not sure if Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and the famous Ezra Miller stayed. The Batman was a huge financial success, but that's still not the Batman that we have in this DCEU. The Brave and the Bold is gonna be a whole other guy. Who's gonna be explaining this to mainstream audiences? Like, am I gonna have to park myself outside movie theaters in my area trying to explain to people like, yeah, okay, this is an Elseworld story and this is the main thing, but see, we recast this guy, but then really this guy's not. Like, nobody's gonna do this and nobody's gonna get it. It makes me really sad to think about because it seems like characters from DC Comics that are like top tier characters are basically being treated as poorly as characters like Marvel's X-Men and Fantastic Four, where they basically just got a bunch of subpar movies and then nobody really gave a shit about them anymore, so they kind of just stopped. That didn't happen with the Avengers, for instance. They had all their phases and Endgame basically finalized the story of the original 6 Avengers. They ended with a bang. Sure, nobody gives a shit about these new guys, but the main guys got their story arc. Where's our story arc for the DC Trinity? Where is our real Justice League content? Where is all this stuff? It's non-existent, and I feel like by the time anybody puts a real budget behind this stuff and really tries to make it relevant, there's not going to be anybody around to care about it anymore, and all the rights to these characters are going to start getting sold off to people that care somehow even less about them than Warner Brothers Studios does. And I really don't mean to be all doom and gloom about this, but it just worries me seeing the direction that we're going in. There's barely even any hype left for Aquaman 2 because all there's left is controversy and apathy. I really haven't decided which one is worse. I think DC Studios needs a complete rehaul and maybe call somebody else who didn't originally work for Marvel and then get fired and brought back, because I feel like James Gunn just wants to sabotage DC at this point. Now, I really don't know how we could fix all of this. I mean, I personally think that I could write way better stories, and I know people that could write way better stories. I mean, literally, if we just got comic book writers involved in the scripts for these films and in these plans, I really think that DC could start kicking Marvel's ass in a few years, but it seems like nobody really wants to make that move. Also, I'm not gonna say that casting me as Wonder Woman would single-handedly save the DCEU, but it might help. That's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support my content creation, feel free to check out my Patreon. I will link both in the description below, and let me know your thoughts on the future of DC Studios in the comments below.